Boston Bruins have a very quick turnaround from when they acquire the 25th overall pick in the Linus Ullmark trade to tonight's draft, where they're going to have to select their own player at 25. And we now know that the Bruins are not going to be trading this pick and flipping them for another opportunity. They will be making the selection, and a recent article from The Athletic and Letourneau has broken down many players that they can take. With a very quick turnaround, they didn't have all of the opportunity to decide who will be available at 25, who they want at 25, and what they will use at 25. But in this video, we kind of have the quick idea of what they're going to be taking, and there's some trends that are very noticeable. So we're going to be talking about all of these players in this video. Before we get into it, though, we notice that 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news throughout this very upcoming busy offseason, you're in the right spot. Make sure to hit the sub button, join us here. This number is slowly going down, which is a very good sign. And we're almost at 3K, so if we could hit that, that would mean the world to me. But let's head into our, the topic that we're going to be talking about. We only got one today, but the Bruins have the 25th overall pick, as I'm sure most of you know by now. And there are many players that are going to be available at this time. Many players that are going to be very underrated, I should say. Many players that are going to be potentially available may slip down after this. This draft is a very crazy one. We know the top, I would say 5 picks are going to be around 1 or 2. Just say 4 might go at 5, 5 might go at 4, 6, whatnot. But after that, it really goes any way. We don't know exactly what's going to go step by step after that, which is pretty rare in an NHL draft. But we do have some information here first, before we get into the actual players themselves, like I said, of the Bruins not trading this pick. That is confirmed. That's kind of something that we thought about here on this channel, as well as many other people on Twitter after we acquired this pick in that deal for Ullmark. But right now, as of this pick, as this one here from the Boston Bruins, this is also from another Athletic article. Will teams pick another or trade a first-round pick? This from Letourneau. Not happening. The Bruins had to take Joonas Korpisalo's contract to acquire the first-round pick from Ottawa. They paid a high price to get back into the first round, and they're not reversing course. So right there, that's the confirmation we needed to kind of get into this little breakdown of what we're going to see, who we may see in the black and gold come tomorrow night. So I'm going to pull up our first screenshot here, which is our few players I've mentioned in some videos already. Sacha Boisvert, Dean Letourneau, 2 I've already spoken about in videos past, the last 2 videos I made on this channel. So if you want to go check those out, make sure to go into those and have a look at what I had to say about them. I'm not going to talk too much about them right here, just kind of a little breakdown. 2 very big players, 6'2", 6'6" on this for Dean Letourneau, 6'7" on just about every other one I've seen, but 2 great guys who I think could absolutely fill a missing hole that this Bruins team has. Not right away, but very soon, in my opinion, for what we might see if these 2 are the ones taken. But we also have Igor Chernyshov. I may pronounce some of these names wrong, and I do apologize for that. But Marek Vanacker, Julius Miettinen, and those are what we have here on this page. We also have these ones here: Sam O'Reilly, Adam Jiricek, EJ Emery, and Dominik Badinka. So a few players here, one or 2 players that we've spoken about, but most of these guys, very good options, and some that could potentially drop to get into this position at 25, which would be some absolute steal. So I'm going to talk about those first. Let's pull up this one here first, once again. Sacha Boisvert, he's a guy that I've seen go just about 20, 19, that area. I've seen him also go with 28, so he's someone that we kind of expect to go somewhere in the mid to late 20s, early to mid late 20s, that area. Dean Letourneau, I've seen him as late as 68, so that's really going to be a pick where, if the Bruins like him, they're going to go for it. We're going to see a situation here where we have with Montreal in this, or Toronto, in this most recent draft. As they only had 1 pick in the first 3 rounds, they decided to take Easton Cowan in that first round. Someone who's projected to go mid-second, early third. And we've seen how good he played in the OHL this season. The pick they wanted, the guy they wanted, it was most certainly a reach, but they weren't looking to trade into that area. So it does make sense. I think we may potentially see something like that from the Bruins here in this one. And I'm seeing many people as well kind of worry about the picks that Don Sweeney has made. Don Sweeney, especially with this trade, not really making the best decisions for the Boston Bruins. But if we're talking about Don Sweeney's success, the draft is certainly one of them. And I'll pull up his recent picks. This is from a reply on that Athletic article from all these players. Legit NHL players and high prospects Don Sweeney has drafted. That's who she is referring to here. Jake DeBrusk, Brandon Carlo, Charlie McAvoy, Jeremy Swayne, Mason Lohrei, Matt Poitras, Johnny Beecher, and Trent Frederic. Not too bad with 0 in the top 10, majority beyond the 25th. So when you look at it this way, really one of the better picks that we have Don Sweeney being able to make. You see, 29, 30, 2 14s in DeBrusk and McAvoy, and the 25th was also Pastrnak 10 years ago, I believe it was now. So really showing that we had to put our trust in him. Really, we got to believe in what he's going to do. And I think that Don Sweeney has a great crew around him, as well as the knowledge himself to make the correct pick for the Boston Bruins. And like I said, it's going to be what's the right fit and the best available kind of combined into one, instead of having 2 separate decisions to make, which is always, a best option to go with. But let's go into our first few players here. I'm going to put on one and kind of break down one that we didn't have on this list, but could potentially still be available. And if he is, this is going to be a very interesting choice for the Bruins to potentially make. This one goes Michael Hage. Chicago Steel forward Michael Hage. Hage. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I do apologize. I believe it's Hage. 95% sure. Is honors the E.J. Maguire Award for Excellence recipient. Awarded to the NHL draft prospect who exemplifies the commitment to excellence through the strength of character, competitiveness, and athleticism. And he received that award tonight at the NHL Awards, recording this a day early. So, kind of going this down before, going to be at work tomorrow, so I want to get the prospects out before we head into the draft. I'll have another video then during the night about what happened, make any trades perhaps, or whatnot. I'm going to be writing all of that down. But Michael Hage, a player that is very interesting. Like I said, I'm seeing him go at high as 15, maybe even a few picks higher, but I've also seen him go around the Bruins pick at 25. And as you can see with the stats, Chicago Steel this year, a fantastic year, 75 points in 54 games, 4 points in 2 games in the playoffs, and heading to the University of Michigan next year. But he's an excellent player, a very, very good player. And, he wouldn't have received that award if he wasn't showing the competitiveness, the resilience that he has in his already very young career. Gone through adversity. That's one thing. I'm not going to go too much into that, but if you want to research it, he speaks about it in many draft interviews. He's a guy that is looking for success. He's not there for himself. He's there for proving everybody that this is going to be the guy that you want to take in this NHL draft. And if he is available, like I said, I'm really excited to see what the Bruins can potentially do with him if he does slip down to a number 25, which I don't think the odds are great, but it could certainly be a very, very good pick if it does end up being that. But let's move over to our second player that I'm highlighting just from these few. This one's actually in the list. There we go. Igor Chernyshov. A player that is, once again, not the smallest guy, 6'2", 192, left winger. Very, very interesting pick here coming up from, the Russian players are interesting for the fact that you might not know where they're going to go after the draft, how long it may take for them to come over. But in the KHL this year, which for playing at an 18-year-old in the KHL, not horrible. And, you have to kind of give that into consideration. 4 points, 34 games. That is basically like about level or a little bit better than the AHL. At 18, already there, was 17 at the time, 10 playoff games. Kid knows what he's at. That's the best way to put it. But in the MHL this year, 28 points in 22 games for Dynamo Jr. So really shows that, once again, he's still on that level to be one of these talents that could certainly make a roster earlier than some other players. But once again, that little unknowns aspect of KHL players, it's a bit of a risk. But those two players are kind of the features that I have from this list here that I will pull up once again before we kind of cut this one out. And as I said, Sacha Boisvert, Dean Letourneau, 2 previous videos spoke about them. One Letourneau in the first one, Boisvert in the most recent one. So check those out if you want to get a little bit of scouting report on those. But for the rest of these picks here, the rest of these ones, I think I like a lot of these. Adam Jiricek's another very interesting one. So is EJ Emery and Dominik Badinka if they choose to go a defenseman route. Very big goal players. And all of these players actually above 6 foot, which really shows the Bruins are trying to add that size, add that physicality. Although both of these lists are not of the heaviest players, they're still showing that they're willing to use their body, put themselves in front of the puck, put the puck in front of them, put a player under the glass, use the body in the absolute ideal way for this team. So of these players, I think that a lot of them are possible. I hope some of the early guys slip. Not featured in this video, but there's just too many to talk about here. So once again, this is the video for the little prospects beforehand. We'll have a video after the draft, maybe even another one before I'm not positive, but certainly another one after the draft. Kind of give a little breakdown of what we had seen. But that's all I got here in this video. Of these players I spoke about here and on these lists, who do you think that you would want to add to this Boston Bruins team, if any of them? And as I said in the last video, let me know if you have any other ones that you would like to see crack this this roster. Maybe next season, definitely the season after. So that's all I got here in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.